Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A mark or flaw that spoils the appearance of something, especially on a person's body. Make imperfect. Nothing marred her beauty. The month following February and preceding April. Destroy or injure severely. A mark or flaw that spoils the appearance of something, especially on a person's body. A facial blemish. Add a flaw or blemish to, make imperfect or defective. Mar or spoil the appearance of. Mar or impair with a flaw. Her face was blemished. Desert. A cause, a country or an army, often in order to join the opposing cause, country, or army. A mark or flaw that spoils the appearance of something, especially on a person's body. An imperfection in an object or machine. If there are any defects, you should send it back to the manufacturer. A failing or deficiency. That interpretation is an unfortunate defect of our lack of information. An imperfection in a bodily system. Visual defects. Deprive of virginity. This dirty old man deflowered several young girls in the village. Make imperfect. Make imperfect. Make worse or less effective. His vision was impaired. Make a mess of, destroy or ruin. Have a strong desire or urge to do something. He is spoiling for a fight. The act of stripping and taking by force. Destroy and strip of its possession. Hinder or prevent, the efforts, plans, or desires, of. Make imperfect. Treat with excessive indulgence. Become unfit for consumption or use. The meat must be eaten before it spoils. Alter from the original. The act of spoiling something by causing damage to it. Her spoiling my dress was deliberate. Usually plural, valuables taken by violence, especially in war. To the victor belong the spoils of the enemy. Corrupt morally or by intemperance or sensuality. Make imperfect. Take away the legal force of or render ineffective. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. England marches with Scotland. The act of marching, walking with regular steps, especially in a procession of some kind. It was a long march. The month following February and preceding April. March in a procession. Walk ostentatiously. A degree granted for the successful completion of advanced study of architecture. District consisting of the area on either side of a border or boundary of a country or an area. The Welsh marches between England and Wales. Genre of music written for marching. Sousa wrote the best marches. March in protest. Take part in a demonstration. A procession of people walking together. The march went up Fifth Avenue. A steady advance. The march of science. Cause to march or go at a marching pace. They marched the mules into the desert. Force to march. The Japanese marched their prisoners through Manchuria. Walk fast, with regular or measured steps. Walk with a stride. He marched into the classroom and announced the exam. Alter so as to make unrecognizable. Destroy or injure severely. The madman mutilates artwork. Pretending that something is the case in order to make a good impression. They try to keep up appearances. Formal attendance, in court or at a hearing, of a party in an action. Outward or visible aspect of a person or thing. A mental representation. I tried to describe his appearance to the police. The act of appearing in public view. The rookie made a brief appearance in the first period. The event of coming into sight. Outward or visible aspect of a person or thing. The act of damaging something or someone. Any harm or injury resulting from a violation of a legal right. The occurrence of a change for the worse. The amount of money needed to purchase something. How much is the damage? Loss of military equipment. Inflict damage upon. The snow damaged the roof. Suffer or be susceptible to damage. These fine china cups damage easily. A month in the Gregorian calendar. Injure or wound seriously and leave permanent disfiguration or mutilation. People were maimed by the explosion. A black-tipped plug clogging a pore of the skin. An act that brings discredit to the person who does it. He made a huge blot on his copybook. A blemish made by dirt. Make a spot or mark onto. Dry, ink, with blotting paper. Pain that feels hot as if it were on fire. Undergo combustion. Maple wood burns well. Use up energy. Burn off calories through vigorous exercise. Get a sunburn by overexposure to the sun. Cause to undergo combustion. Burn garbage. Shine intensely, as if with heat. The candles were burning. A browning of the skin resulting from exposure to the rays of the sun. Cause to burn or combust. The sun burned off the fog. Cause a sharp or stinging pain or discomfort. The sun burned his face. Burn, sear, or freeze tissue, using a hot iron or electric current or a caustic agent. A place or area that has been burned, especially on a person's body. Create by duplicating data. Burn a CD. Destroy by fire. They burned the house and his diaries. An injury caused by exposure to heat or chemicals or radiation. Damage by burning with heat, fire, or radiation. The iron burnt a hole in my dress. Damage inflicted by fire. Execute by tying to a stake and setting alight. Witches were burned in Salem. Feel hot or painful. My eyes are burning. Feel strong emotion, especially anger or passion. She was burning with anger. Spend significant amounts of money. He has money to burn. A place or area that has been burned, especially on a person's body. A mark made by a chattering tool on the surface of a workpiece. Marks on a glaciated rock caused by the movement of a glacier. An appraisal of the state of affairs. A check on its dependability under stress. Be verified or confirmed. Pass inspection. These stories don't check. Make cracks or chinks in. The heat checked the paint. A mark left after a small piece has been chopped or broken off of something. Examine so as to determine accuracy, quality, or condition. Check the brakes. Develop a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Become fractured. Break or crack on the surface only. Lessen the intensity of temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. The state of inactivity following an interruption. Held them in check. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Slow the growth or development of. A written order directing a bank to pay money. He paid all his bills by check. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Mark into squares or draw squares on. Draw crossed lines on. Additional proof that something that was believed, some fact or hypothesis or theory, is correct. A mark indicating that something has been noted or completed, etc. As he called the roll, he put a check mark by each student's name. The act of inspecting or verifying. They made a check of their equipment. Something immaterial that interferes with or delays action or progress. The bill in a restaurant. He asked the waiter for the check. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Please check each name on the list. Be compatible, similar or consistent. Coincide in their characteristics. The handwriting checks with the signature on the check. Hold back, as of a danger or an enemy. Check the expansion or influence of. The act of restraining power or action or limiting excess. Abandon the intended prey, turn, and pursue an inferior prey. Arrest the motion of something, abruptly. He checked the flow of water by shutting off the main valve. A textile pattern of squares or crossed lines, resembling a checkerboard. She wore a skirt with checks. Block or impede, a player from the opposing team, in ice hockey. Chess, a direct attack on an opponent's king. Consign for shipment on a vehicle. Check your luggage before boarding. Decline to initiate betting. Hand over something to somebody as for temporary safekeeping. Make an examination or investigation. Check into the rumor. Obstructing an opponent in ice hockey. Place into check. He checked my kings. Stop for a moment, as if out of uncertainty or caution. She checked for an instant and missed a step. Stop in a chase, especially when scent is lost. The dog checked. Verify by consulting a source or authority. Check the spelling of this word. Write out a check on a bank account. The act of chipping something. A small disc-shaped counter used to represent money when gambling. Electronic equipment consisting of a small crystal of a silicon semiconductor fabricated to carry out a number of electronic functions in an integrated circuit. A mark left after a small piece has been chopped or broken off of something. Golf. A low-running approach shot. A piece of dried bovine dung. Break off. A piece from a hole. Her tooth chipped. A thin crisp slice of potato fried in deep fat. Cut a nick into. A small fragment of something broken off from the hole. Break a small piece off from. Chip the glass. A triangular wooden float attached to the end of a log line. Form by chipping. They chipped their names in the stone. Play a chip shot. A black-tipped plug clogging a pore of the skin. A purified and potent form of cocaine that is smoked rather than snorted, highly addictive. A long narrow opening. A usually brief attempt. He took a crack at it. A narrow opening. He opened the window a crack. Become fractured. Break or crack on the surface only. The glass cracked when it was heated. Suffer a nervous breakdown. A chance to do something. Break suddenly and abruptly, as under tension. Witty remark. Pass through, a barrier. Registrations cracked through the 30,000 mark in the county. Make a sharp sound. Of the highest quality. A crack shot. A long narrow depression in a surface. A sudden sharp noise. The crack of a whip. The act of cracking something. A blemish resulting from a break without complete separation of the parts. There was a crack in the mirror. Break into simpler molecules by means of heat. The petroleum cracked. Break partially but keep its integrity. The glass cracked. Cause to become cracked. Heat and light cracked the back of the leather chair. Gain unauthorized access computers with malicious intentions. She cracked my password. Hit forcefully. Deal a hard blow, making a cracking noise. The teacher cracked him across the face with a ruler. Make a very sharp explosive sound. His gun cracked. Reduce petroleum to a simpler compound by cracking. Tell spontaneously. Crack a joke. A blemish made by dirt. Coat with plaster. Daub the wall. Cover a surface by smearing a substance over it. Daub the ceiling with plaster. An unskillful painting. Apply to a surface. Daub paint onto the wall. Material used to daub walls. A depression scratched or carved into a surface. Make a depression into. The bicycle dented my car. An impression in a surface, as made by a blow. An appreciable consequence, especially a lessening. It made a dent in my bank account. A blemish on the skin that is formed before birth. Go, ding dong, like a bell. An impression in a surface, as made by a blow. A ringing sound. Make a groove in. Force with the thumb. Gouge out his eyes. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. An impression in a surface, as made by a blow. An edge tool with a blade like a trough for cutting channels or grooves. The act of gouging. Celebrate by some ceremony or observation. The citizens mark the anniversary of the revolution with a march and a parade. Insert punctuation marks into. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Assign a grade or rank to, according to one's evaluation. Mark homework. Remove from a list. A symbol of disgrace or infamy. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain. A visible indication made on a surface. Some previous reader had covered the pages with dozens of marks. A person who is gullible and easy to take advantage of. A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. She made good marks in algebra. A perceptible indication of something not immediately apparent, as a visible clue that something has happened. Something that exactly succeeds in achieving its goal. Hit the mark. An indication of damage. Formerly the basic unit of money in Germany. A distinguishing symbol. The owner's mark was on all the sheep. Apostle and companion of St. Peter, assumed to be the author of the second gospel. To accuse or condemn or openly or formally or brand as disgraceful. A marking that consists of lines that cross each other. Make small marks into the surface of. A reference point to shoot at. His arrow hit the mark. The shortest of the four Gospels in the New Testament. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Mark off the units. Be a distinctive feature, attribute, or trait, sometimes in a very positive sense. Attach a tag or label to. Notice or perceive. Mark my words. Mark with a scar. Make underscoring marks. A written or printed symbol, as for punctuation. His answer was just a punctuation mark. Designate as if by a mark. This sign marks the border. Make or leave a mark on. The scouts marked the trail. The impression created by doing something unusual or extraordinary that people notice and remember. It was in London that he made his mark. A small whitish lump in the skin due to a clogged sebaceous gland. A protective structure of stone or concrete. Extends from shore into the water to prevent a beach from washing away. The molecular weight of a substance expressed in grams, the basic unit of amount of substance adopted under the Système International d'Unités. A spy who works against enemy espionage. A small congenital pigmented spot on the skin. Small velvety furred burrowing mammal having small eyes and fossorial forefeet. Spicy sauce often containing chocolate.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.